Hello. I is here. I is here. Hey everyone. Just sorting out some last minute bits. Bear with me. Welcome, welcome. Who's ready for a Saturday of racing? Well, I say racing, but of F1 cars going on track very quickly. Oh, good to see you. Guys, I'm just grabbing my coffee. I was in the middle of making it. I didn't realise how close I was to going live, so I thought I had a little bit of extra time. So be back in a minute. Just bear with me. In the meantime, the live data is ready for us. Oh, what's going on with the music? Hang on. That shouldn't be. Morning, everyone, though. Morning. I don't know why that's playing on my phone and not on the PC. I had to go get the shirt on as well. I forgot I didn't have the shirt on. Welcome, everyone, though. Welcome, welcome. I think we're good now. I think we're good to rock and roll. Happy days. No, Ferrari, you're not doomed. You know this. You know this, guys. You know the shirt isn't the issue. It's the solution. I hope everyone's good, though. Hope everyone is good. All the way from Boston, next year, you can see George. Good day, Rod. 5:20 p.m. Saturday night. Lovely, lovely. Yes, not too bad, not too bad. Are Ferrari going to be able to genuinely push on from yesterday? We know that they turned their engines up a little bit. I did see some analysis, actually, of some race pace, and Max Verstappen, my call this weekend is Max Verstappen's going to win this race. He's got a brand new engine in the car. Which is always helpful at Monza, where you're achieving very high top speeds and you're on full throttle for a very long time. And he's running a low downforce setup compared to the McLaren, so he's going to be quicker in a straight lines. But the race pace looked to be pretty decent compared to that of McLaren, is what I saw yesterday online. So from some data analysis So, yeah, we'll see engines turned up today, later today, most likely. But, yeah, we will see. I did indeed, Chris. You are very correct. If you missed Friday yesterday, totally understandable. Many of you are busy on a Friday. It's still a working day, wherever you are in the world. Well, for the majority of you, anyway. Not all parts of the world. But yes, Ferrari 1-2 in FP1. But we know they turned the engines up. We know they did that for a reason, to give the Tifosi something to cheer for. And, of course, for Lewis Hamilton in particular, his first race in Ferrari at Monza. Something for him to have a bit of a confidence booster. But they did say in the FP2 session that there were some changes made to the car which made it quite difficult to drive, but it made it quick. And Charles in particular said, yes, I'd rather the car be that way than slow and consistent. So, yeah, they may challenge when it comes to qualifying. The race, we don't know, but yeah, I think Max is going to be comfortably the closest challenger to the McLarens, and I think he's going to be a real danger with that new engine in here this weekend. So need to rename it the Troll Meme Shirt. No, you know what, I'm generally this close to buying the blue as well, because I really like the blue that they've got for this week. I really do like that. I may buy that in the future. I like the Miami one. There's me, it's like London buses. I never bought merch for ages, for years. You wait ages to get something, and then yeah, you get two in very quick succession. So the blue one does look good, and it's a nice shade of blue as well. That's the thing. Hello from Italy. Hello, good to see you. Welcome. Yes, only 7.5 minutes to go. And yeah, what are we going to see here? Now, McLaren weren't too positive after yesterday, to be honest with you. They weren't too positive at all. So they have a lot to improve on themselves. I think they're trying to... So McLaren, as I said yesterday, McLaren are in a bit of a... They're in a bit of a spot, really, where they're no doubt deciding what setup to go for. Do they go for a lower downforce dependent setup, similar and akin to what Red Bull, Mercedes, Ferrari are going to be utilising? Or do they use a bit more downforce on the car and utilise their strength, which is in the corners? But then that may leave them susceptible to being overtaken in the first couple of laps, because they won't be able to get... That might secure them pole position and the front row, but it's not going to allow them to escape from, say, Max Verstappen or Charles Leclerc, even maybe Lewis Hamilton, with those lower downforce setups in the first couple of laps. And especially with DRS being activated after one lap now, they're not going to be able to break that DRS toe after one lap, unless there's some carnage or something. So for them, it's going to be interesting to see what they decide to choose. And I think they were a little bit... I think they were testing some different setups out yesterday, and they couldn't really hit the nail on the head. Even though Lando was still quickest, they definitely said that they weren't comfortable and that everyone was too close for their liking, and knowing that everyone's got their... Other than maybe Ferrari and Williams, everyone's got their engines turned down a bit, turned up. Sorry, other than Ferrari and Williams, that's it. Everyone had their engines turned down. So it's I did say that this track, I mean, I could be completely wrong, but I did say that this would be one of those tracks where McLaren are gettable, purely because of how you have to set up the car here and where McLaren's strengths have been. But they could very well still see this through. So, no, James, did you not tune in yesterday? Why do you think Ferrari had a 1-2 in FP1 yesterday? Because I was wearing the shirt. That's exactly why. That's exactly why. If McLaren gets 2 podiums here, it fully demonstrates the completeness of their dominance. Agree. Yeah, I mean, if they get a podium here, if they win this race, or they get a 1-2 here, we always know it's a straight fight between Piastri and Norris, but if they get a 1-2 here, where else do you see any other team having an opportunity to get at them? I don't see anywhere. Singapore is always a bit of an outlier, but then they were strong there last year as well. You expect them to be strong here again this year, unless there's some some incremental weather or like some wet weather and so forth, maybe like Interlagos and that, you just see them dominating everywhere, don't you? So I am, Daisy, don't you? I am. We proved last week proved at Zandvoort that the shirt is not the issue. There is no curse on this shirt. Close to 55,000 subs. Yes, we are fast approaching 55,000 subs, guys. It'd be absolutely brilliant if we could achieve that today and get past that. What a milestone. And yeah, just a big thank you to everyone who continues to subscribe to this channel and to enjoy it. Can you continue to enjoy these watch-alongs? As I said before, every single subscriber brings me closer to doing this full-time for you and bringing you more and more content. The midweek content is a little bit few and far between because this isn't my full-time job. I do have another job which pays the bills and the mortgage and so forth and supports the family. Yes, this brings in a little bit of money, but it's more pocket money, really. It's a little bit of extra cash to spend on the little one and that, and some days out. But yeah, for a full-time career, we're some way off that yet, but every subscriber, every like brings me closer to achieving that dream. And yeah, a big thank you to everyone who has been here. If you've been here a day, if you've discovered me yesterday, big thank you. If you've been here since I started up this YouTube channel, a big thank you as well. So yeah, and we're fast. I say fast approaching. We're getting there. We're getting to that 55k. We'll take it 5,000 subs at a time, and then yeah, get to that 100k. Get that silver plaque, which we can put right here. This is what this blank space is for. I'm saving it. So I'm a quantity surveyor, Bradley. That's my day job. So yeah, I work in construction. I basically deal with the money or in a construction project. I ensure that the construction project runs to budget and that the company I work for makes money on the job. So yeah, I deal with all the commercial aspects of the project. What's my opinion on Christian Horner, Anthony? Wow, where's that question come from? I almost forgot about Christian Horner. I particularly didn't really like the man. I think him, Helmut Marko and stuff, I've never really particularly liked them. I mean, it was good to have kind of a pantomime villain, but I just think sometimes he went too far, and I think the toxicity that I think we see on social media now in relation to F1, he has a lot to do with that, primarily because of what happened in that 2021 season. And he utilised the fans, he utilised social media, which no one had ever really done before in Formula 1, to back his driver and back their calls regardless. So, yeah, I wouldn't be too sad to not see him back in the sport again, to be honest with you. So, Adrian, what are you doing up at this time? Are you going for a bout of insomnia? What time is it for you in Oz? Or is it not that late? Is it like 10 p.m. or something? But good to see you, mate. I'm doing very well. Not gonna lie, man. Not gonna lie. That sub badge looks pretty good, doesn't it? That sub badge looks pretty good. I've got a new one for you because you're only a couple of months from 5 years. Is it 5 years or 4 years? 4 years being a member of this channel. So, you know, I have a special one. Alan, you discovered the channel earlier this year, kept you sane through some dark months. Total fan, best watch along for F1 I've seen, and I've checked out a few. Much appreciated, Alan, much appreciated. And yeah, this is a place where we can enjoy our love of F1, regardless of who you support. And I'll give you back some banter, of course, regardless of who you support. But everyone here is welcome, as long as you're fair and respectful. And yeah, we'll always try and get through. I do apologise if I've missed some of your comments, guys. I do watch my watch-alongs back, because I'm always looking where to improve, and because I miss so many of your comments. So if I don't get through to every single question or comment, I do try my best, guys. So yeah, please do not be disheartened if you don't get a question answered. And of course, I'm not an expert. I try my best. I'm very knowledgeable with what goes on with F1, and I like to think, as I always say, I give a reasonable and logical take on things. I don't try and get bogged down in the emotion of decisions and so forth and occurrences, stuff that happens in F1, which so many people seem to do these days on social media. But yes, here we go. FP3 started, ladies and gentlemen. There we go. And no one is out on track. Fun times. Let's go. The shirt is back on, Scotsman. My top 3 for this weekend, Wonk. Verstappen, Lando, Piastri. In what order, I don't know, but yeah. I do think Verstappen could win this race, so. 4 years is absolute insanity, I know. Harshill, you wanted to start watching F1 from so long, but was not able to understand, but you enjoyed the last Dutch GP very much, and now I'm a fan. Oh, my pleasure. Yeah, and that's what it is. Like, there's people here who've been watching it for. I'm sorry, guys. I know there's a few of you, but there's a few of you here who have been watching this sport before I was even born. I'm sorry. I know that's a dagger to your heart, and I'm sorry I've just mentioned that on a Saturday morning. And then we've got people who have only just got into it in the last week. So that's what's brilliant about it, and that's what we've tried to do here. And there's no such thing as, well, I disagree, actually. There is such thing as a stupid question. But in relation, if there's something that you're unaware of with F1, even I can answer it. If you have a query or a question about the sport, or there are plenty of knowledgeable people in the chat, as I just mentioned, who have been watching it way long before I was around, and they'll be able to give you an answer as well. So, you like the British accent? Oh, thanks, Chen. Thanks. It's a unique British accent. It's an Essex accent. So, when will McLaren prioritise one driver? They won't prioritise one driver. The reason they won't prioritise one driver is because they are so far ahead in the championship in both the drivers and the constructors. They don't need to prioritise a driver. It's a straight out fight between the two. And we've said this before as well, is that it's very unique. It's not normal that you see both sides of the garage utilise different strategy options against each other. In the Mercedes era, when it was Rosberg versus Hamilton, they were a little bit more stringent in the fact of you cannot do an undercut, you cannot do an overcut. It's about utilising your driving skills and doing it out on track. We are not going to give anyone a preferable strategy over the other. And I think maybe only once or twice they were allowed to do an alternate strategy to each other, maybe because they were out of position. But mostly when it was a 1-2 for them and it was a straight fight, they were not allowed to have. It wasn't like, okay, Rosberg was second and he was able to do an overcut on Lewis and have fresher tyres at the end. Very, very rarely that was the case. Whereas McLaren have said, yeah, go for it. Like, as long as you keep it clean between yourselves and you finish races, have a strategy battle between each other, which has been great for us. So, Daisy, you go back to watching early 1970s races on the BBC and loved it, but it was way too dangerous to drive. Yeah, very, very different era. You look at a 70s road car, even 70s road cars today, very, very fragile things. You just look at them and there's a lot of straight edges to 70s road cars. And they're not exactly designed to disperse the energy of a crash impact. So, hey, all good to see you, mates. I'm doing very well. Lisa, good to see you. Appreciate the kind words. You've been watching F1 for 30 years. Nearly as long as I've been alive, Scotsman. Sorry. It is my birthday in a couple of weeks' time, guys. So get your birthday cards. I'm just giving you plenty of time. The Azerbaijan Grand Prix, the race day, is my birthday. So I will be providing you guys a watch-along on my birthday. And I wouldn't want to be doing anything else. So I'm just saying, get your birthday gifts in early. You've got plenty of time to go shopping. Rooting for Antonelli. Hopefully he can get this race right. Yes. I think today is going to be a good day for Kimi Antonelli. I think he is. It was a silly mistake. It looked like he did carry. I watched the footage back and it does seem like he carried a bit too much speed into turn 7, which is why he lost the rear. Oh, pardon me. Which is why he lost the rear. But yeah, I think he'll have a strong weekend now. Technically, his weekend starts from here. So, yeah. All right, a few more drivers making their way out of the pit lane now. We have Stroll and Alonso, who may just be scrubbing a set of tyres, which is what they like to do. That's what they've just done with a set of hard compound tyres. Gasly and Colapinto making their way out there as well on a set of hard compound tyres. And, yeah, we'll see as well. Oh, Dan, chief strategist. You've upgraded yourself to a chief strategist. Welcome, buddy. Much appreciated. You're a huge Hamilton fan, Phoenix. Do I think he'll be able to finish in the top 5 by the end of the race? Yes, I think he can. Yeah, I think so. Even with a 5-place grid penalty, I think he can. I think primarily because the Mercedes do not look very good here from what we saw yesterday. While I think Antonelli will do better than yesterday, George in particular didn't really look too much at the races yesterday. Of course, things can change on a Friday to Saturday. We know that. But I think the Ferrari looks like they're in a better place than Mercedes. Then, depending on where he qualifies, he's got a 5-place grid penalty. But let's say he starts in the top 10 regardless with a 5-place grid penalty. I think he's got enough in that Ferrari, enough pace to overtake whoever it is a few positions ahead of him, which most likely will be the Williams. Maybe, it might be a Russell. It might be an Antonelli. But I think, I do think the 2 McLarens and Verstappen, maybe Charles. Well, definitely Charles will be in the top 4. That will be your top 4. In what order, I don't know. I still think Verstappen, with that brand new engine in the car for this weekend, the race pace looked pretty good yesterday from the data that I saw. And he had his engine turned down as well. And he's running a low downforce setup. So Max is going to be very racy come Sunday. He might not be able to get it on pole, because having a bit more downforce on the car and having that pace for the corners helps you over a single lap here in Monza. But when it comes to the actual race itself, it's very different. If you've got more rear wing, you've got more downforce, then you're going to be susceptible to those that have got a higher top speed. And there's not enough corners here to gain a significant advantage over the cars like behind you, especially with DRS activated after a single lap. So yeah, that's where I'm thinking. That's where my thought process is for this weekend at the moment after yesterday. What will I be wishing for that day, Wilco? Oh, I don't know. I don't know yet. Will I wear the Ferrari shirt? I'm wearing the Ferrari shirt for every single session this weekend. That's what I said. That's what I said I'm doing, and I'm a man of my word. Woody, thank you for joining the pit crew, by the way, and Jarvis, but being a member for 2 months, much appreciated. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for the continued support for being a member. If you don't know what a member is, it's just supporting the channel further with a paid subscription, basically, to myself. So yeah, don't spend it all at once. I'll try not to, Dan. Who do I think the 2026 car being designed around, Lewis or balanced approach, is being taken? I think they've been taking both. I don't think either driver's preferences are going to be taken, are going to be preferred over the other. They're definitely going to be taking both of their drivers' feedback into consideration. You're 19, Arian, and you think you're half the age of some people. You could be some people's grandchild in this chat. That is the varying ages that we have in this chat, which is great. Yeah, you told Sky he would be scrubbing tyres when they were visiting the garage just before the session. Who was that, Adrian? Who said they'd be doing that? What, the Aston Martin? That's what they always do. So, hey, Daddy boy. What do I think the 26... Oh, sorry, I've already answered that question. Will I go for live for quali? Yes, the quali stream has already been set up. When I end this stream after this session, it will redirect you to that qualifying stream. You don't have to do anything. All you need to do is just stay in the chat, in this stream, and it will redirect you there. Or, of course, you can turn your notifications on, hit that bell button, and you'll be notified by YouTube 30 minutes before the stream goes live. We are going to be live 30 minutes before qualifying, so 2:30 UK time. And yeah, we'll be live for Q1, Q2, and Q3. And then, of course, tomorrow with the race, we always go live an hour before the race begins so that we can have a look at the drivers making their way around to their grid slots. Of course, Lewis Hamilton picked up a 5-place grid penalty for an infringement in the sighting lap last week at Zandvoort, which he should have taken a penalty for at that race, not here, which was ridiculous. But we have seen incidents with Charles Leclerc as well in Miami. Typically 2 Ferrari drivers this season on the sighting laps. We just chat, we chill, and then we have a look, of course, at the strategy options, the tyre selections, tyre allocations that the drivers have for the race, the pit stop lost time, the weather, etc. All the relevant information that is important to the race and for you keeping an eye out on what the teams are doing. 46 here, 60 here, 50 here. So I mean, 15. We've got people of all ages. That's a great thing. And we're all here because of our enjoyment of F1 and our love for F1. So, Kai, love the channel. Lots. Thank you, buddy. Much appreciated. Welcome, buddy, to the pit crew. Oh, continuing to be a member of the pit crew. Thank you. Only 150 subs away from 55k. Yes, definitely. Hopefully, we can get it today. We had over 100 subs yesterday. So, yeah, big thank you. The channel is growing every single race weekend. So, yeah, I know there's lots of people doing it out there now. And I'd like to think that what we do here is unique compared to others. And that's the thing that I can see on YouTube is that the return in viewership is very high for the watch-alongs. So, yeah, big thank you. It seems once you find the channel, you seem to stick around, which is the most difficult part, really, with YouTube, is keeping people continuing to tune in. So, yeah, thanks, guys. Would it be possible for me to add the mini sectors in the live tracking and perhaps reduce the size of the track map? I'm not going to, Sam. No. I appreciate the feedback, but I think we have had this layout for some time now, and it works best for us. I'm always looking to try and enhance, of course, the viewing experience for you all. We did try and look at, obviously, adding the coloured sectors and so forth, but I've always been a fan of less is more to an extent. I think we've got the relevant information that matters, Sector 1, Sector 2, Sector 3, and I feel like sometimes mini sectors is a bit too much. I get asked a lot about radio messages as well. However, the radio messages move so quickly that I feel like it's more distracting and more clutter than anything. So, thanks, Els. Much appreciated. My birthday was 7th of June, so you're going to be 13 in 2 months tomorrow. 13 in 2 months. Oh, my goodness. You are young, Chris. Happy birthday for a couple of months ago, though. I'm going to have to crack open a deodorant for that shirt to last the whole weekend. Don't worry, it'll be in the wash. Be washed and dried this evening. So, this is from Multiviewer. Multiviewer is free as long as you have an F1 TV subscription. So yes, you can check that out. There's lots of customization that you can have to this. You can have as much data as you possibly want. You can overwhelm yourself with data if you want to, but for us, I think this is the most relevant information for practice and quali. And then the race, the session, the only thing that is removed is the speed, because we don't really need the speed, really, when it comes to the race. We need an extra bit of data in relation to like the intervals, so the gaps between the drivers. That is what is replaced when it comes to the race. So. One that happens, sometimes the tyre history gets chopped off the display table, so can't remember how many stops everyone has had. Yeah, that is kind of the only thing, I guess. I can increase that. I will look to do that for the race tomorrow and ensure that we have that. One thing, will records be broken this weekend? I think so. I don't see why we wouldn't see the track record smashed again, because we have seen the track record smashed at so many race circuits this year. Practice, we're not going to see it. We're not going to see pole lap of last year beaten, because just drivers will turn their engines down, they'll save them. But yeah, we are going to see, I reckon, below the 119s comfortably. I'd need a much bigger TV if you put more on the screen. That's also it as well, Steve. So I am conscious that, and I can see this on YouTube, while a large proportion of you do watch it on TV, a number of you watch it on mobile, iPads, desktop. You're watching it on so many different devices. You have to cater for all. And the more data that you have, the more difficult, yes, it is going to be to read and ascertain. So that's something that I try and take into consideration as well. The record is a 1:18.8. Okay, so 1:18. Yeah, I think we'll see that smashed. That's half a second quicker than what we saw last year. Will we see it beaten? I think we will. Yeah, these cars are much quicker than last year. Can I add the sector on quali? Yeah, we'll get a consensus. I'll do a poll and you can let me know if you want the sectors on there or not. We had a discussion on this yesterday. I'm not going to do it now, but yeah. I think Max is going to get pole. Do I think Max is going to get pole today? I did say Max would get pole. I do think Max will get pole, you know. I think he will. Easy to chat with mobile. Yeah, I agree, Sid. Yeah, if you want to get involved in the chat, you need a mobile or a PC, don't you? Trying to chat through the TV is like difficult unless you've got like a keyboard plugged into the TV. That's also another reason why I have chat on the screen as well. It's because a lot I do it as well. When you are on YouTube and you try and see the chat on the right hand side, if you're on a mobile device in particular, you're making the screen actually gets smaller to make room for the chat. So I put the chat on screen because people can have that closed and chat without having to minimize their screen. So there's all these things that I've taken into consideration to ensure with the setup here. So you're bolstering viewership. You are, Sid. Thank you. Is slipstreaming worth up to 3 temps? So do I think we'll see teams toe coordination FP3 or save it all for Q3 drama? So we won't see slipstreaming in... You do see slipstreaming in FP3, but it's not the be-all and end-all, of course, how quick you go in FP3. But we will probably... Will we see it? Oscar Piastri said something very interesting not too long ago. I think it was last week. Was it last week or it was quite recent? And he said at tracks where we would normally see slipstreaming and see the toe utilised, it's actually not beneficial anymore. You want more of a sizable gap to the driver ahead of you because you can feel the dirty air for as even as 4 to 5 seconds back. He actually even said 7 seconds back in Zandvoort, which I think is a tad too much. But of course, he's in the cockpit. He'll be able to notice that more so than I will. But that's dramatic. So they don't necessarily want to be too close to their teammates ahead because they're going to get more dirty air and it's going to affect them in the corners. So to clean air in this current generation of F1 cars, current iteration of F1 cars, is more important than having an extra few kilometers an hour down the start finish straight or down the back straight, because they're actually going to lose time in the corners because of the dirty air and lack of grip that they'll get from it, as Oscar Piastri goes fastest with a 20.6. So I think the only driver who will utilise maybe a slipstream here will be Lewis Hamilton for Charles Leclerc. He did say that in his interviews where he has, Yuki goes fastest, as Hamilton's gone fastest in the first sector. He's on a set of mediums though. Wow, he's just gone half a second quicker than that of Piastri in the first sector. Let's we'll keep an eye on Lewis Hamilton as he makes his way down the back straight into the Ascari chicane. Max Verstappen's gone quickest in the middle. Oh, Max is on softs as well, and he's gone quickest in the middle sector. See how he fares. Ooh, slow middle sector for Lewis, 27.2. Did he get caught up by Charles? I think he got caught up by Charles there. But because he's got a 5-place grid penalty, it doesn't matter if he gets pole because he's going to be starting from 6th. So as Max goes fastest with a 20.0. Still not the quickest time we've seen this weekend though, which was a 19.8 from Norris yesterday. So Lewis, a conscious error in Sector 2 there. Not sure what happened. It did seem like he caught Leclerc. Maybe Leclerc was in his way. But yes, he's said he would give Leclerc the toe because he'd rather see Leclerc on pole position than himself because he's going to be getting a 5-place grid penalty anyway. So, when the commentators first start to talk about dirty air, is it a relatively new thing? No, dirty air has always been in F1. However, it's become more prevalent when the aero packages and the aero design of F1 cars became more proficient, I guess, or there's more emphasis on it. But the level of dirty air has massively increased, I'd say, over as the cars get bigger. So probably since 2017. So when the cars became significantly wider and longer in 2017, that's when we started to see dirty air really become an issue and be talked about more and more and more. But it's always existed. It's physics. And that's what has been a problem, is that 2017 was really the turning point for these cars getting as large as they did and becoming more and more difficult to overtake. Funny thing is that at the end of the last set of regs, 2021, the cars were probably able to follow as close as they ever have been able to for some years. And then we went to the ground effect era, and the first year of the ground effect era was very good for us, but then they allowed the teams to overdevelop the cars, and the floors went from being flat edges on the floors to being really intricate and having all these different designs on them, which just displaces more air and more dirty air behind. So yeah, that's where we are at the moment, and hopefully next season, 2026, is the start of us heading back towards cars that are lighter, smaller, less dirty air, less intricately designed, and the FIA actually hold back the overdevelopment of cars, because the engineers always want to make the cars go faster, have more performance, and by doing that you try and give the cars more downforce and efficiency in the corners and that. And yeah, that's where we've got to in this current set of regs. We're in the largest, heaviest F1 cars in history, and they've never displaced more dirty air in the history of F1. So how did I come up with the name Stuffeyy for my channel? So my full name is Scott Tuffey. So Stuffeyy. S is my first initial and Tuffey is my last name. Very original. Yeah, exactly. Always a thing since Aero's been a thing. Linda, you missed me last Friday. You tried other channels and were so disappointed. I am the best. Ah, thank you. Yeah, you don't know what you got until it's gone, eh? Lucas, do I think it'd be possible to have a bot that reposts radio messages in the chat? That way it wouldn't clutter the stream, but you could still see the communication if you want that. Oh, I'm not that technically sound-minded. I don't think that's... I mean, I'm sure someone could probably draw up a bot that could do that, but I'm not that technically gifted to do that. So, why does Tuffey have two Ys? Because someone already had the username with one Y. So I had to add an extra Y. Simple as that, really. So, don't know who it is. It's someone who's never posted any content, but I've stuck with it. I've got two Fs in my name, two Ys, doesn't matter. So far, the shirt is doing well this week, Dan. It is indeed. It is indeed. And yeah, Charles Leclerc is P2 at the moment. Hamilton P3. The Norris and Piastri in the McLarens are just on the hard compound tyres at the moment, so they haven't done any push laps yet. We'll see if maybe they turn the engine up for a push lap in this session. We're probably not far away from that happening, to be fair. All the radio messages is way too many messages. I only have 3 or 4 drivers enabled when I watch the race. Yeah, it's just a bit too messy at the moment, isn't it? That's the problem. Was Ferrari fast just yesterday, or was it just a fuel show? I think it was a bit of both. I think there is there's more pace there than normal for Ferrari, as there always is generally at Monza. But yes, they did turn the engines up. I think so. More so in FP1 than they did FP2. But FP1 was a glory run. It was for them to give... It was for Ferrari to give the fans something to cheer about. Give some positive vibes, boost the morale. I totally understand why you would do that. And, of course, for Lewis Hamilton as well, where it's his first race at Monza in a Ferrari shirt, so in Ferrari colours. So, what would the tyre strategy be? Yes, sorry, so I saw a couple of questions about the tyres. This is normally a one-stop race, unless we get safety cars, unless we get red flags. The reason for that, and we'll discuss in a bit more detail tomorrow when we do our pre-race show, is the pit lane lost time here is quite extensive. It's one of the longest of the season, around 24 to 25 seconds. Now, the reason for that is because while the pit lane itself is kind of a normal length, it's the speed that the cars are travelling at going past it. They're travelling over 300 kilometres an hour, while you are trudging down that pit lane speed at 80 kilometres an hour. So you're losing a considerable amount of time in that pit lane, and there's not enough corners here to gain an advantage over the other drivers. So generally, teams will always go for a one-stop unless there is a safety car, which bunches the field back up again, and then it's always preferential to put on a fresh set of tyres. But yeah, that's generally what we'll see. The tyres that we see here is normally a medium to hard strategy. We don't see the softs, really. It's always, yeah, a medium or hard compound tyre, pretty much. Murray, I've settled on the layout for the watchalongs. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He was just going super slow. What was that? With sorry, I'm missing some chat here. So, an extra wire makes the name go faster. Yeah. Could always say the two wires represent the upper and lower wishbones. Oh, hang on. Oh, Baltoletto saying just before I headed into Ascari, someone opened the radio into the braking of Ascari, so that's not great. As he's braking, he would have heard something of the like. So Leclerc is in the pit lane. George Russell is coming out. He's on a set of softs. He's on the same set of softs. Yeah. I don't think he was able to get a proper push lap in last time around. It's a bit of a busy circuit at the moment. But currently Verstappen, 19.688. Apologies, I missed that, guys. So that's the fastest time we've seen here this weekend, a 19.688. That was on a second push lap. Maybe starting to utilise a bit more of that brand new engine that Verstappen has in that car for this weekend. And it's also the first time in this current set of regulations where Red Bull have actually developed and brought a low downforce specific package. Throughout this regulation set, they have always had an advantage when they came to Monza, so they was able to run more downforce than everyone else, similar to kind of what McLaren find themselves in right now. And last year, they had the bat wing, didn't they? They had a very DIY style rear wing that they trimmed up to try and provide some more top speed, but it wasn't an actual low downforce package. So this is the first time they've got one, so should fare much better. Do the softs last a quality lap here, Ant? Yeah, they do. Yeah, I mean, we've just seen... yeah, they do. They do. They won't be able to do multiple laps on them because they'll be putting a lot of energy into the rears. So through Monza, it's not really the... I mean, the front left takes some hurt for sure because of the two Lesmos, turn 6 and turn 7, and then you have turn 11, which is Parabolica. But primarily, it's the rears that you have to manage here. Of course, lots of slow corners. So turn 1, the chicanes, pretty much. And it's all about looking after those rear tyres to ensure that you've got the rear grip and got that traction. Otherwise, you're just going to be sliding about as soon as you get on throttle. So when it comes to qualifying, yeah, it'll only be a single lap for the softs. They will last a lap around here. They're not putting as much energy through them as they are at other circuits, but they wouldn't be able to do multiple laps on them, I believe so. Discovered the channel since 2023. Lovely. Tower went into turn 1. It will be, yes. So, if you're wanting to know the orientation of this track, ladies and gentlemen, it is, as it is here, it's basically north to south. So, turn 11 is north. The right-hand side of the circuit is north. The left-hand side of the circuit is south. So, if it says a southerly wind, it is currently, yes, a big tailwind into turn 1. And really, we don't want that. We want a northerly wind for the race tomorrow, because what that will do, as we've mentioned yesterday, if you didn't tune in for it, it's understandable. What we have here is that DRS is not as efficient as it is at other circuits. Now, the reason for that is because everyone is running, well, the majority of teams are running much skinnier rear wings. So when they open the DRS, they're not able to, they don't gain as much because there's not as much air flowing over the rear wing. So, and especially from their competitors in front as well. Oh, who was that? Oh, Verstappen not happy with Esteban Ocon there. Failing to follow race directions instructions. Isaac Hadjar again for turn 4 incidents there, the escape road, as a few drivers have been given warnings there yesterday. But yes, so what we want to see is a headwind into turn 1 down the start-finish straight, because that means that the slipstream will be more powerful and the DRS will be more effective. That's what we want tomorrow, is a northerly wind. But the wind has been changing quite a bit, really, in its direction from what I've seen yesterday and even just this session. But that's what we want. I appreciate that, Dan. Who do I think is getting pole this weekend, Lexi? I'm still back in Max, yeah. I'm going Max pole, Max win. It wouldn't surprise me to see a McLaren up there, of course, and many of you will be thinking, what? But I've mentioned my reasons. He has a brand new engine in that car. That's going to be massively important here at Monza. He's got a low downforce setup. Even if he doesn't maybe qualify on pole, he's going to be very racy tomorrow. I think he's good. I think Max has got a very good race car for tomorrow. Might not be the best car for a single lap. I still think he'll get pole, but it wouldn't surprise me if he gets beat by the McLarens, because I think they're going to be running more downforce than that of Red Bull. But I think Max has got a very good race car. Hey, Rob, good to see you, mates. Massive turbos at the end of the straight. If I could choose all the F1 cars throughout history, what F1 car would I choose if I could drive a few laps in it? Probably the 07 or 08 McLaren. Probably one of those. Or Michael's Ferrari. I can't remember which one it was. One of Michael's Ferraris. I'd like to drive a V10, put it that way. Headwind into second, Lesmo should make it easier to get that straight, to get onto that straight momentum. Balances out the tailwind on the main straight. Yeah, that's boring though, isn't it, Nautis? We want to see moments through turn 7. That's all right, Adriana. No worries. Yeah, I've only got you are allowed a certain amount of caps and emojis and stuff and emotes. It's just, as Antonelli's reporting, I've had some weird D rates, so not good for Antonelli, who currently finds himself in P12 in this session with his teammate up in P5. And well, George Russell did have an engine cutout at the very end of FP2 yesterday. So is that Mercedes engine struggling again? We will see. Wind northerly is blowing from the north, southerly is blowing from the south, and so on. Here in Britain, it's prevailing southwesterly. You'd want to drive one. Drive the one that you've driven in the sim, perhaps the MP430, since I won an iRacing Division Championship in it. Opinion on Gasly keeping his seat. Yeah, I saw that. So how many years has Gasly renewed by? So Pierre Gasly, if you're just tuning in, guys, has put pen to paper on a new deal with Alpine. And I don't know how long it was for. Is it an undisclosed amount? Or 2028. So he signed an extension to 2028. So I like Gasly. I really do. And I think he's a driver who has performed very well this year. And he's a driver who has outperformed. He's done well to get the results he has in that car. Bearing in mind the second seat. I know the second seat has only been Colapinto and Jack Doohan in it. But they're the only car on the grid. That's the only car, only garage on the grid that is yet to score a single point in this F1 season. And that just shows kind of really how poor the Alpine is, because Colapinto has scored points before in a Williams. And we know that he is capable of doing that. And Gasly has got that car into Q3 multiple times this year. And he has been really unfortunate. They've had to try and... He's been really unfortunate that he hasn't been able to score more points, to be honest with you. He's had to try and bank on doing some very long one stops, and he just, like last week, I mean, he ended up getting absolutely eaten alive because of like the last safety car, but he was on course for scoring points, as Lewis Hamilton's just gone fastest in the first sector. So I think, yeah, he's a driver that I would like to see Gasly in a car again that can win races, because I think I do rate him quite highly. You write Gasly as one of the top 5 drivers in the field. Top 5, maybe not, but I do think this season he's definitely up there. He's definitely up there. So, Colapinto just met on a P11 last race, just sucks. Yeah, shame for him. What is he objective to achieve in FP3, Pharaoh? Just further dialing in setup, because they would have analysed all the data from Friday, done some data analysis in the simulations, back at the factory, and then it's about testing that out on track. And then at some point, we'll probably see a brand new fresh set of softs stuck on these drivers, and they'll get into dialing in the car for qualifying. Or doing some qualifying laps. But yeah, that's pretty much what it is. It's to gather more data, see how the car is on long runs, test the tyres, and test any alterations that they've made since Friday to now. Jack Doohan deserves another chance. Should have been given a proper go. I don't think he showed enough in the 6 races that he participated in, to be honest with you. While I do think that he was kind of set up to fail from the beginning anyway, which no driver should be, I don't think he did enough in 6 races. And Suzuka was unforgivable, to be honest. What he did, I mean, there's one thing that you have to do when your job is under pressure, and is keep it on track. As a rookie, yes, understandable that in a very long season, you're probably going to get caught up in a few scraps. But for the most part, especially when you've only got 6 races, keep the bloody thing on track. He crashed in his first race. He crashed at Suzuka, arguably then raced with a broken rib, and just didn't really do much to impress in those 6 races. So, why is McLaren using Mercedes engines? Can they not make their own? Yes, and Adrian is right. They've never made their own engines. They've always had a partnership with another team, whether it be Honda, whether it be Mercedes. So yeah, they've always something that they've never set up. One of the primary reasons for that is it's expensive to do. It's very expensive to set up your own powertrain unit, and Mercedes have had that since they've been creating cars. So yeah. That's that partnership. It was a bit of a surprise, I think, years ago when they went to go the Honda route. But was it a surprise? No, because they used to be with Honda years ago, didn't they? But rejoin Honda, I guess, after how Mercedes power unit had gone quite so well. But yeah. Hamilton onto the softs now. Charles Leclerc is still on mediums. So we've got no push laps yet. What's that? So it's disappeared. McLaren road cars use a proprietary engine made by a company called Ricardo. Really? Fair enough. So Hamilton is out on a set of medium still, as is Charles Leclerc. So no one's done, other than Max, really, no one's done any proper push laps. Even then, I would say Max hasn't done proper push laps, because you'd expect him to be able to go considerably quicker on that set of soft compound tyres when he was pushing. So still saving the engine. So yeah, so no one's gone out really on a brand new fresh set of softs today and utilised them that much. Verstappen was quite prone to crashing early on in his career. Don't remember if it was as bad as Doohan, but it did give him that nickname. It wasn't as bad as Doohan. No, it wasn't as bad. Thoughts on Danny Rick's news as a Ford ambassador? Yeah, he says he's done with racing, and you've got to respect that decision, to be honest with you. He's lived and breathed racing his whole life and probably just wants to have a break. He'll probably go back to racing at some point, whether it'll probably be other series or whatever. But right now, he doesn't want anything to do with racing. And look, he's still a young man, still in his mid-30s, and he's got a shed load of cash behind him. Why not enjoy your life for a good few years rather than getting back into racing immediately? So, yeah, I'm sure he'll get back into racing at some point. And even if he doesn't, fair play to him. He's got millions in the bank. And sometimes when something's been your life for so long, it then becomes kind of like the last thing that you want to do. Similar with me with golf. I did golf for all throughout my throughout like my teens and into my mid-20s, and I tried to make it as a golfer, and I was a coach and so forth. And when I eventually decided to leave, I play golf once a year now, because it's just not, when something's been part of your life for so, like, consumed you for so long, you then just want to have a break from it, and then it doesn't become your priority anymore. So the only difference between me and Daniel Ricciardo is that he's got a lot more zeros at the end of his bank account than I have. before the decimal place anyway. Not gonna lie, I expected better results from Kimi Antonelli this year. I think Kimi Antonelli's done pretty decent this year. We said this yesterday. Yes, he's had some DNFs, but some DNFs has not been because of his own, because of his faults. He was running in decent positions, point scoring positions when those DNFs occurred. Yes, the crash at Red Bull Ring was poor. Yes, the crash at Zandvoort was poor. And look, he's had some moments in practice, but ultimately, you'd rather crash in practice and get a decent result in the race. I think people are holding him to too high of a standard. Yes, because of the hype, but also because he's in a Mercedes. And his teammate is George Russell, who is rated as one of the top drivers on the grid. So for him to beat George Russell in his first season, kind of really at any point in a race, would be tremendous. So I think there's a lot of positives to take away from this season thus far for Kimi Antonelli. You play golf for about 7 years old for pleasure, but when I came out of the Navy, I took up golf again and got +4. Wow, +4? Jesus. That's serious. Okay, so we do have some soft tyres on now, guys. Lawson, Bortoletto, Norris, Alonso, Stroll, Piastri and Hülkenberg have all got soft tyres on their car. So we're going to see some push laps. Here we go. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. So Piastri and Norris are the ones that we are keeping an eye on primarily here. And Verstappen as well. Okay. Are we going to start to see them turn the engine up a bit and show their hand some more? Let's see. But yes, Norris and Piastri, we haven't really seen their true pace here this weekend. A 19.8 was the fastest time set by a McLaren yesterday, which was Lando Norris. Piastri, of course, missed FP1 because of Alex Dunn in the F2 driver taking that position for Piastri. So let's see how they fare. So we're going to keep an eye out on Lando. We're going to keep an eye at him and see how he fares. They've only done long runs on the hard compound tyre at the moment. So this is going to be the first time they're properly going for it. So DRS is open, as you can see there, the indicator next to Norris's name. So he's getting up to a speed of 339 kilometres an hour as he just hits the braking zone of turn 1 there. He's got George Russell ahead of him. He'll be moving out of his way. It's all about managing the rear traction here out of turn 2. Will George Russell have maybe got in the way of Lando there, even though he would have been moving off to the side? Let's see how he fares down into turn 4. Of course, we've seen drivers lock up here. This is a corner that Norris found himself getting overtaken by his teammates on the outside last year. He's made his way through there quite nicely. He had a big moment through there yesterday, Lando Norris, on a push lap, but he controlled it well. As interestingly, Lawson's gone quickest out even than that of the two McLarens in the first sector. But the first sector is mostly about the top speed and your exit out of turn 2. So I think that's really where we're going to see the low downforce runners beat the McLarens comfortably, is in that first sector. And then you can see Norris fastest in the middle sector at 26.411, where you need that grip, you need that front end through turn 6 and turn 7, and particularly through the Ascari chicane. You can get on throttle a lot sooner than that of your competitors. As he makes his way round Parabolica, here comes Lando across the finish line, and it is a 1:19.331, and that takes us to the pole position of time of last year, set by Lando Norris, a 1:19.3. Oscar Piastri slots into P2 of a 1:19.578. And while he lost quite a significant amount of time in that first sector, you can see there with Liam Lawson how he is now a 1:20.132. We'll see what Nico Hülkenberg does there, and well, he's 4 tenths back. So you can see those low downforce setups. Bortoletto goes P3, by the way. Wow, what a great lap from them. The low downforce doesn't really come into its own, holds you back in the middle and last sector in particular. But when it comes to the race, that is where you want to be quick. In particular, is that middle, is that first sector. But it depends whether Norris and Piastri, as maybe we predicted, would they be able to get on pole position? Couldn't they lock out the front row? But importantly, would they be able to pull away from that of the drivers behind? We will see. Let's keep an eye on Max Verstappen, shall we? As he's on a push lap, 26.6 in the first sector. Not particularly quick from him. The second sector is slow for him as well at 26.7. So not particularly quick there. He's 2 tenths off of his fastest middle sector. So this isn't a good lap for Max on this push lap. Hamilton is in the pit lane at the moment. We'll see if he comes out on a fresh set of softs, as Charles Leclerc also comes into the pits as well. Max has actually bowed out of his lap. So I wonder if Max had a moment in one of the corners He's had a moment, I think, for the second Lesmo, Max Verstappen. But yes, not particularly quick there for him. Isaac Hadjar, fastest first sector for him, though, quicker than that of George Russell. Can he get another podium here this weekend? Isaac Hadjar? Oh, just like London buses. Oscar not showing his cards. No, as we have seen so often. But yeah, the McLarens, if we have a look at their Sector 1 times, pardon me, we can see here the difference in setups, really. Look at the difference there in Sector 1, where you need that top speed. Sector 1 is from the start-finish line round to basically turn 4, and it is only one corner you have to contend with. It's all about the top speed primarily. Look how slow they are in the first sector, but then the second sector and the last sector, they are considerably quicker, of course, where there's more corners and top speed isn't as big of a factor. And then if we have a look at the speeds as well, the speed traps, you can see that in the speed trap itself, Norris and Piastri are in the bottom 3. They're in the bottom 3, as has been the case so often this season. Max Verstappen is reaching a top speed of 354 kilometers an hour is the fastest he's gone. Considerably faster than that of Norris and Piastri. And that just showcases that they could, as I mentioned, my logic is that in the race, at the start of the race in particular, if they get overtaken, if Max can get ahead of the McLarens at the start of the race tomorrow, he's going to hold on to that position because they're not going to be able to overtake him. There's no way they're going to be able to overtake him in the corners. They are banking the McLarens on being able to have clean air and qualify on the front row. That is what they're banking on. That just clearly indicates that with the speed traps and the top speeds that they're achieving. So, McLaren sitting ducks tomorrow, potentially. Could they pull out the DRS from Max Verstappen or whoever it is behind them? The Ferraris even after one lap. I think that's a tall order, and I think, to be honest, they could be a bit of a sitting duck. But we'll see. What is a speed trap? A speed trap is the section of the track where the top speed is measured. So normally down the end of a start-finish straight, and that is where it's a section of the track where the top speed is measured. London buses makes you laugh too much, Josh. No chance of having overspeed relative to Max. Exactly. I mean, that's a significant. But you see it. It's interesting because I see it in the sim. In iRacing as well, where people will run a lower downforce setup compared to a mid downforce package or a higher downforce package. And generally, the more wing that you have, the more downforce you have, the quicker you'll... the trade-off really is that you'll be able to be quicker over a single lap. But when it comes to a race, as soon as you're within the slipstream and you've got DRS, you're just a sitting duck. And then you're not able... The pace that you have in the corners is not really advantageous at all, because unless they make a mistake ahead of you, you're stuck, because the only place you can really overtake here at Monza is turn 1, especially in this current iteration of cars, as I said, unless someone makes a mistake. So even if you have advantage for the corners and you can get a better exit, that top speed is just going to make it so difficult for you to get past, even once you open the DRS as well. So qualifying will be crucial. Whichever McLaren is second is going to overwork tyres and keep Max behind, while one in front can get away. Yeah, qualifying is going to be so important later. So I think Monza has quite wide turns, so downforce is more important here than raw power for those around the top. I don't know. I don't think so, necessarily. They will always want to run as much downforce as they possibly can while maintaining the top speed. But I don't know. Maybe I'm just hyping this up to be something that it isn't going to be, but that's my logic behind it anyway. With dirty air and heavy car, McLaren's will be so much quicker than nobody will even get the DRS. It depends. This is the thing, but they're only going to have one lap to do that. Then DRS will be open and Max will be able to just... I'm saying Max because I think Max will be the one that will be there. It could be Charles Leclerc as well. But yeah. Traffic management at Monza is always chaos. Do I think teams will attempt tow trains in Q3? We mentioned this earlier. I think the only team that will utilise a tow train, will be probably actively use a tow is Ferrari if Hamilton and Leclerc both get through into Q3, which I suspect they will do, because Hamilton's got that 5-place grid penalty. And he has even said as such as well, because it doesn't matter if he gets pole, he's not keeping it. Whereas it makes more sense for Charles to get pole. My name's Scott, or you could just call me Stuffey. What is the better track, Vegas or Monza? Monza. Max up there into P2 and 119.5. Still a slow middle sector there for Max. Hasn't really been able to hook up that middle sector. So he went a lot quicker earlier on in this session. What are they doing in quali? Going as fast as they possibly can. Wasn't Monza meant to be a sprint race track? Guess not. Was the other year, wasn't it? We've had sprint races here before, and it's not a very good sprint race track. We mentioned this yesterday. If you want to make Monza a more racier circuit and have more overtakes, and what would make it a good sprint race track is limiting the level of downforce that the teams can add to the cars or take off the cars. As we mentioned, to ensure that the tow, the slipstream is more efficient, the DRS is more efficient, and that means that there's more overtaking down the start-finish straight, rather than having the low downforce setup, which means teams just get stuck in DRS trains because unless there's a significant headwind, it's difficult to overtake. What do I think Astons and Alonso's in the race? What do I think about basically Aston Martins in this race? I think they're going to struggle. All their updates have been geared towards adding more downforce to the car, hence why they've done very well in Hungary, why they did well in Zandvoort. But they did poorly in Spa, where there's more emphasis on a lower downforce package, and they're going to do much worse here as well. So they will only really perform well, I believe, if they're benefiting from some safety cars or something. But for the most part, this is going to be a tough weekend for them. Hulkenberg fastest in the first sector, but then look at that, loses it all in the second sector. Nico Hulkenberg, as the McLarens have gone quicker in that first sector. By the way, the two Stake F1 cars are fastest in Sector 1. They have rocket ships at the moment in a straight line, the Stake F1 cars. They're going to be tricky to overtake tomorrow. Look at that, P3 for Bortoletto. That is, they're going to be tricky to overtake. Very tricky to overtake. We have the Ferraris on a fresh set of softs, by the way, guys, as they're making their way through Ascari chicane. So let's see how they fare. Will they be able to top the timing sheets here? We will see. Are they going to go for one last glory run here before they head into qualifying? Check their top speed. Yes, so the top speed of the two Stake F1 cars are 350 kilometers an hour. 351 for Hulkenberg and 350 for Bortoletto. Only Max Verstappen has topped that with a 354. Right, so here we go. Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton on a fresh set of softs, guys. The last of the drivers out there to do push laps, but they've got quite a lot of traffic ahead of them. So we will see if they get held up by them at all as they make their way through Turn 1 and Turn 2. As Alonso moves out of the way, as does Lee Colapinto there as well. But yeah, quite a significant amount of traffic for them to contend with. So we'll see if they're able to set decent lap times here, as Charles Leclerc does a 26.459 in the first sector. Not too bad by Charles, to be honest with you. Not too bad. That's currently 6th fastest and only a 10th behind the Stake F1 cars, which we know are rocket ships at the moment. Lewis Hamilton's actually gone quicker and is 3rd fastest. He's only 0.06 of a second behind that of Nico Hulkenberg. But are they able to maintain the pace in this middle sector? We will see. Catching quite a lot of cars through the Ascari chicane here. The Williams need to hurry up. They've been Alex Albon. I'm surprised he hasn't got an impeding penalty here this weekend yet. A 26.8 for Hamilton, a 26.8 for Leclerc. That's 10th and 11th fastest. That's 4 tenths off of the McLarens in the middle sector. 4 tenths off the McLarens in the middle sector. How is their last sector here? Let's see how they fare. Charles Leclerc comes across the line and only goes P8. And Lewis Hamilton only goes P6. Only 2.5 tenths pretty much separating P6 to P1, but the McLarens so quick in that middle and last sector. 4 tenths over the Ferraris in that middle sector there, and 2 tenths over Hamilton and Leclerc in the last sector as well. If we just have a check there as we're approaching the last 5 minutes, we're in the last 5 minutes, so we can see here that first sector time, it's not that far off. It's only a couple of tenths back now, really, or 3 tenths back, Piastri and Norris in that first sector, but they're so quick in the second and third sector at the moment. Leclerc grounded on the curb of exit of Lesmo 2. Kick the back end out. Ah, fair enough. Just Bortoletto is saying check the floor as well. Fair enough. But yeah, the McLaren's quite evidently much quicker through that middle sector than everyone else. Liam really struggling. Liam down in 14th. Yeah, not looking too good for him at the moment, to be honest with you. Is this the most compelling rookie class since 2019? I think so, yeah. So watching the replay of Charles here, as Adrian confirmed to us, he hit the curb. Oh, yeah, big moment out of the second, Lesmo. Big moment. Nearly lost the car. Had to control the rear there. Big snap. Yeah, he dipped the left rear onto the gravel there on the exit of the second Lesmo. So that's why he lost a lot of time down that back straight in the second sector. Not sure if Lewis Hamilton also did the same. They didn't show Lewis Hamilton's replay, so maybe he also experienced similar in that middle sector. Would a Sauber win from pole? Probably not. No. Probably not. Quali in an hour and a half. No, Quali is on at... I'll tell you when Quali is on, guys. By the way, big thank you everyone tuning in. Over 2,500 of you here. Hit that like button. By the way, let's see. Can we get this stream to 1,000 likes? Can we get a practice stream to 1,000 likes? That'd be brilliant. Qualifying is on. I'm live. Qualifying is on at 3 o'clock, so 2.5 hours. 2.5 hours. I'll be live in 2 hours' time. Does anyone know who the 2019 rookies were? I can't remember, to be honest with you. No. Not looking good for a Ferrari 1-2. I don't think they were going to get a 1-2 anyway, to be honest with you. But I think they could be close, and I think they can maybe... They could still cause some issues tomorrow. You never know with qualifying. Never know. But yeah, the McLarens definitely have a car that can get on pole, as we knew. So... Exactly, Play. It doesn't cost anything to hit the like button and subscribe as well. Big thank you for all the subscribers. We are 80 subscribers away from 55,000 subs. Can we do it before this stream ends? Can we do it? We have 2 minutes remaining. Go on, guys. Hit that subscribe button. What do I think about the 2026 regulations? I'm excited for them. I'm all here for the chaos. As Hamilton said, need some more juice. Need some more speed somehow. So basically, turn that engine up, boys, is what he's saying on the pit wall. But yeah, I'm all here for the carnage that I think is going to occur next season in 2026. It could really throw up. I'm expecting the unexpected in 2026. That's my expectations. So, my pleasure, Drew. My pleasure. Next year, are they getting rid of DRS? DRS is disappearing. Yes, DRS is disappearing, and we are going to a push-to-pass system and an active aero system, is my understanding. I will do... The 2026 regs are still like a little bit up in the air. So there was supposed to be... Now, this isn't for the 2026 regs, but there was supposed to be a meeting next week between the engine manufacturers to discuss the next set of engine regulations and moving back to V8s, moving back to a V8 concept. But apparently the meeting has been cancelled. Now, there wasn't a lot of optimism around it anyway, supposedly, but there are discussions being tabled to the engine manufacturers to move to a V8 engine, because basically the 2026 regs are only going to be in place for 3 years. Cadillac GM Motors, and the reason why this is the case is because Cadillac GM Motors is a good indicator that they're bringing in their first engine, because they're going to be using Ferrari engines to start off with. They're going to be creating their first engine for 2029. It was initially going to be 2027, but they pushed it back 2 years, which is a pretty good indicator that there's going to be a new set of engine regs for 2029. As Charles has gone quickest in the first sector. Hopium here for Ferrari as he's on the last lap. We have checkered flag here. Lewis Hamilton is also on a push lap as well, I believe. But Charles Leclerc, is he going to back out of this or is he going to keep going? We will keep an eye on it. He's got DRS open. He's up to 340 kilometres an hour down the back straight into the Ascari chicane. And he has just improved by around a tenth and a half in the second sector there. But he's still 3 tenths back nearly on the McLarens in the middle sector. But he's 3 tenths quicker in the first sector. So about level playing field here. Can he keep it together in the last sector and take P1 here at the end of FP3? Oh, nearly so close there for Charles Leclerc. So close. 200ths of a second for Charles Leclerc here in FP3. It's not even qualifying yet, and the blood is flowing here. Charles Leclerc splitting the 2 McLarens there. Yes, could Lewis Hamilton coming around the last corner now? Let's see how he fares. He doesn't improve. So, right at the end there, checkered flag. That is it. Norris, P1. Charles Leclerc, P2. That is pretty much pole position of last year, guys, which is a 19.3. So 2 drivers within the 19.3s, matching pole position of last year. And, well, we do fully expect to get into the 118s come qualifying in a few hours' time. Oscar Piastri, P3 there. We know that he builds into a weekend. Do not write him off by any means. How often have we seen him be behind his teammate in practice sessions? But then when it comes to Q3, that all-important session, he pulls it out of the bag. So he did miss FP1 as well. So he is a little bit behind. He is behind in track time compared to his teammate and the others out there. So, yeah, Piastri will be, no doubt, picking up the pace when it comes to qualifying. Verstappen, do not rule him out. Still probably yet to turn that engine up, that brand new engine that is in the back of that Red Bull. It is going to be a close qualifying, I think, between those top 4. Very intriguing qualifying. George Russell, P5. He seems to have got his act together a little bit in that Mercedes. Bortoletto, that stake F1 is an absolute rocket ship in a straight line. We'll have a look at the sector times in a second and the top speeds. Yeah, they are. That's not a green tractor. It's not a bright green tractor this weekend. No. It's a bright green Lamborghini. That's what that is, the stake F1. Lewis Hamilton in P7. Still, when you think about it, though, there's only 2.5 tenths separating like the top 7 there. Hamilton in 7th. We know he's got a 5-place grid penalty. He'll be doing his best to get into Q3 and help out Charles Leclerc here, maybe with a toe in that session. Hadjar in P8, continuing on some good form. Antonelli in P9, a good solid FP3 for him, considering he binned it yesterday early in FP2 and beached it. Not binned it, beached it. Albon in P10, Hulkenberg P11, Alonso P12, Sainz 13th. Where has that pace of the Williams gone after FP2 yesterday? Potentially sneaking their engine modes up yesterday compared to everyone else around them. Colapinto 14th, Tsunoda 15th. Could have done better for him in this session. Lawson 16th. He looks to be struggling here compared to his teammate. Behrman in 17th, Gasly 18th, Stroll 19th, and Esteban Ocon 20th. But yes, that is it. 1 second covers the entire field. Yes, less than 1 second covers the entire field. It just shows how close it is. Look at that. Half a second. Less than half a second separates the top 11. That is mad. So if we have a look at the sector times here, and, well, we can see Leclerc just got the fastest first sector there out of anyone. I don't know if he got a toe or not, to be honest with you. Maybe he did. But still, regardless, that is the nature of Monza. He did a purple first sector. Hamilton, 4th fastest there. So the Ferrari's quick in the first sector, and then the McLaren's not so much. Norris is 17th fastest in the first sector with Piastri 14th. But then Norris, fastest, considerably more than anyone else in the middle sector, even that of his teammate, and then quick in the last sector as well with that additional downforce they have. Lewis, not a good middle sector for him, not sure why he couldn't hook that up, and Verstappen did that lap there actually. That 26.5 was from very early on in a session from Max. So he didn't even do that on his timed lap that he currently has on the board. So yeah, it's intriguing to see the setup differences here. And yeah, it's going to be really interesting. So if we have a look at the speed traps, as I mentioned, look, Charles Leclerc hit 352 kilometers an hour down the start-finish straight there on his last flying lap. That's why he was so quick. So I think he did benefit from a cheeky toe. But the Stake F1 cars are doing that kind of outright. They're so quick in a straight line, the Stake F1 cars. And then they're also Sector 2 down the back straight here, hitting a very high top speed. So they're very quick in a straight line. They're going to be tricky to overtake tomorrow. If you are in the midfield, you are looking at those Stake F1 cars and you're looking at those top speed and those sector times. You want to qualify ahead of them so desperately tomorrow. Otherwise, it is going to be a very difficult and long race for you tomorrow in the midfield. So Williams will be looking at getting ahead of them. But Bortoletto, best of the rest, a very, very good lap time from him in this session. But we all always expect lap times to get quicker come qualifying in a few hours' time. Quality at midnight in Australia. Perfect time, Rob. Perfect time. Do I think we could see either Hamilton or Leclerc on the podium tomorrow? We could. Will we? Probably not. But we could see one of them. And if we're going to see one of them, it's more likely Leclerc. Max always holds back until quality and he only gets 2 attempts off pole. Max may get pole here. Yeah, I still think Max is going to be challenging those. I mean, we know the McLarens have probably still got a lot in the tank. We know that. And the question is, does Ferrari have more available to them? That would be my question to Ferrari. Yes, they look much better here than they have done at any other race or race weekend for some time. But do they have any more in attack? Because we know really that the McLaren still have probably another 3-4 attempts in them, as well as Max Verstappen as well. Does Ferrari have that? I hope so. I'm just trying to, not playing down hopes, but yeah, I'm just trying to be logical in it. But look, it's close. It could be, we've seen moments as well. It could be something as simple as the wind changes direction and they get caught out through turn 7. They're going to be on the limit when it comes to qualifying. And, well, there's no room for error here at Monza, as we've seen a few times throughout this weekend already, with plenty of lockups, plenty of off-tracks moments. So a slight dip of the wheel on the gravel, lots of curb strikes, can be very costly with how tight qualifying has been in recent times, and how, looking at that leaderboard there with the gaps, how tight it is no doubt going to be here in qualifying later. How come Norris didn't get a grid penalty? Didn't he have to change some engine component? No, so it wasn't a brand. The engine was fine. It was just a component of the engine which isn't required. You're not limited by the amount of parts you can replace that with. So yeah, the actual engine itself is fine. It was salvaged. What happened is that the engine went into like shutdown mode, like safety mode in Zandvoort, because it noticed an oil leak. And yeah, apparently the engine is fine. It's been saved. Piastri giving everyone a full sense of security. Yeah, I still think do I think personally? I just hope it's close, man. I just hope it's close. But anyway, that is it, guys. Big thank you to everyone for tuning in. We're nearly at 55,000 subs. Go on. There's got to be 39 of you who have yet to hit that subscribe button. It'd be much appreciated if you can. But if you hang on tight, I will end the stream and it will send you directly over to the qualifying stream that will be going on in a few hours' time. If you do not want to do that, turn your notifications on so that you get a notification pop-up for when I am going live. You'll get it normally 30 minutes before it goes live, so you can leave it open in your browser or whatever device you are watching it on. But yes, thank you everyone for tuning in. As always, Jarvis always comes in at the end. So kind, buddy, with a gifted at the end. So big thank you, buddy. 23 has received a gifted membership by Jarvis. There you go. That's a graduation present to you from Jarvis as you graduated recently. So congratulations, buddy. But yeah, go grab yourself some lunch, some dinner, a couple of beers, wherever you are in the world. It's never too early. It's 5 o'clock somewhere, right? Yeah, we'll see you in a few hours' time, guys. Pleasure as always. Bye.